CJ restructure? Morstead back? Moses is here? Ooh, we cooking up something nice at One Jets Drive. It's time to talk about it right here, right now. Boy Green meets Wudi.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Welcome, welcome. It is another episode of Boy Green meets Wudi. I am James Wudi here. We got a lot of things to break down. But before we break it down, I'm telling you, this guy next to me, this is not his first show of the day. It's not his second show of the day. It's not his third show of the day. This boy, he is a marathon man. I know his name is Boy Green, but he is a marathon man. Boy Green, how are you doing today? Woo, get your breath.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. In case you guys missed it, I just had a chat about an hour or two-ish ago, somewhere in that ballpark, with Thomas Morstead. That's up on the YouTube channel, so if you guys missed that, you can check it out. It's only like a 15-minute interview, something like that. The audio-only version's already up if you prefer the audio version of the podcast, and then the 15-minute interview with Morstead to talk about his brand new extension. Had some good comments. So, and then, of course, the morning show and then my radio show. And, there's been a lot of stuff, but I love doing this. So, this is great, and obviously between all of that jazz, the fact that we have more meat on the bone to discuss with the CJ Mosley contract extension, it just baby, we're here. Jets always give us something to talk about.
They sure do. I was glued to the screen for the Morstead interview. I gotta say, I agree with his sentiment to run it back with Hardy. We had a special teams segment. Right? Or not segment, a special teams episode where we talked about special teams. Why we should run it back. And we got two out of the big three names that we were talking about.
And I love it. So it's good to have him back. And that's a YouTube short on my channel because I wanted to get that video out quickly. I asked Thomas Morstead to put on his GM hat. And I said, if you could sign anyone, or add anyone to the team, who would it be? And I figured he might say a sexy name, or maybe, I'm not really comfortable as a general manager, whatever he wanted to say. But the one name that he said was, he said, selfishly, Justin Hardy is the name. And you guys can see that that's in my YouTube shorts. It's also on Instagram and Twitter separately, if you guys just want to watch that quick vid. And he just makes this passionate plea on why Justin Hardy deserves to be back and how important he is to the team. And Justin's had some weird tweets that seem to suggest maybe the Jets, I don't know. This is my speculation. Some of his tweets have seemed to indicate that, maybe the Jets told him he might not be coming back. I hope that's not true. That's just my read, because he's sent out a few things about people are going to remember that special teams are important and stuff like that. We're left to speculate when we see tweets like that. And it kind of seemed like maybe there's something going on there. But hopefully Morstead saying that and it going viral and hashtag bring Hardy back and all this other stuff can bring him back, because, we want to see the elite special teams back. They were awesome last year, and it was kind of awesome, yelling in a cave, basically, or yelling in the shadows or yelling on the top of a mountain, however you want to describe it, where the elite special teams play didn't get the love it deserved because the team stunk and they won 7 games. But that secret sauce, special teams of the kicker being brought back, the punter being brought back, and hopefully our Pro Bowl gunner potentially being brought back, and what Morstead argued and explained for, that's the secret sauce between winning and losing. That when you get the games really tight, that 1% difference could make the difference between winning a game or losing a game. So, he advocated for it strongly. I can't say it any better than him, but let's try to bring Hardy back. Hashtag bring Hardy back.
Let's go. Let's try to bring him back. Bring him back.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about bringing somebody back, this isn't somebody who was out the door, but this is somebody that we talked about extend what's going on, extend some sort of restructure. CJ Mosley, he is a New York Jet. All right, took a pay cut. All right, bring back out the scissors. He brought them out himself, right? So he got that pay cut. Tell us the terms. Tell us your thoughts, Boy Green. I know this was something when we talked about it. You were like, hey, we gotta do something about that contract.
Yeah, it was the word Rich Cimini used was untenable. He had a cap charge this year of $21.5 million, which was the highest on the team. And while I don't think that was a number that you cut, because CJ Mosley is an incredibly important part of this team, he deserved to be a part of this turnaround, even within itself. I think it wouldn't have felt right for the Jets to move on from Mosley and replace him with random insert guy, and the Jets have Aaron Rodgers and go to the playoffs and do all these things, because Mosley's been a key part of the turnaround for the New York Jets. So his number had to be adjusted. But from my conversation with Jeremy Fowler, ESPN NFL insider, before the season last year, and then recently, I thought an extension was going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. He signed a 2-year deal for $17.25 million. Now, if you think about that for a second, he was owed $21.5 million just for this year. His 2-year deal is for $17.25, but it's that perfect scenario where you balance all sides. He had a $17 million base salary this season that wasn't guaranteed, so it was a non-guaranteed base salary that the Jets could have cut in theory at some random point, and he wouldn't have gotten $1 of that base salary. So now he gets a little bit more security for himself with this deal. So good for him. He gets a $13.25 million of that in guarantees, including $9 million fully guaranteed for this season. So he gets money in his pocket, which he's happy about. The Jets lowers cap hit significantly for this year because, like I said, it was a $21 million cap hit. And with that massive reduction, essentially, so he took a pay cut and helped out the team and got a little money for himself. So this was kind of a perfect balance for everybody. Mostly wanted more money in terms of security. The team needed some cap relief to make some more moves, and this opens the door potentially for a big move. Free agency, trade, God knows what. But I think in the end, we keep our leader on the team. He gets something that makes him feel good. The Jets get something that make them feel good, and it's a happy win-win-win-win scenario, and that doesn't always happen in the NFL. It's a cold cut business, as we've seen with some of the cuts earlier this week with the league year. So I love it, LOVE, love it for Mosley, love it for the team, love it for the player.
I mean, you look at both sides of the ball, right? The leader, the vet, right? The all-pro on both sides. CJ Mosley, right? He's reached that level. He's been on that level. He is the captain for a reason. He has taken a pay cut to do what's best for the team. All right, winning above everything else. Other side of the ball, Aaron Rodgers, 4-time MVP, taking a pay cut. All right, it's crazy. Some of the people that make more money than him in 2024 right now, and he's taking a pay cut for the sake of the team, trying to win. That was actually a knock on him on Green Bay, that he's taking all these max contracts while, Tom Brady always, does all this to be, team friendly with the deals. Here he is taking a pay cut. And how has Joe Douglas rewarded these captains for their pay cuts? By getting Homer Simpson, all right, by making no moves to actually spend this money. It's crazy. It is crazy. Maybe that was a left turn for you, Boy Green, but I am a Jet fan. I am hoping that this team competes. I am seeing my captains, my captain, do what they can to sacrifice money out of their pocket so that the Jets can pay someone of value, and there are still no actual proven commodities. We keep getting these Alan Lazard types of, they were pretty good here, but with the Jets, they're going to be here. That is the exact pitch for Homer Simpson. Can we get a proven Tyron Smith? Can we get someone proven like that? Can you get someone proven like T. Higgins? It's crazy.
Yeah, again, I guess we're just going to be on opposite sides here. I think I argued this a couple of days ago. I don't know. I do a lot of shows, I guess, so everything's going to blur together. But John Simpson, to me, if he's your worst offensive lineman, I think there are, if that's your worst lineman as a first world problem, then that's a first world problem to me. I think the Jets have had a lot worse problems in the past of using 4 different quarterbacks last year, or the offensive line combinations in general and what have you. So Simpson, I think a lot of people are that are watching tape are now jumping more and more on the train. They're like, whoa, actually this guy brings a little nasty. Okay. I'm like, yeah, well, hop on the train, baby. Toot toot. And by the way, if you were going to steal, raid someone's coffers, go in their offensive line room. Yeah, I'll take one of those. And I'll take this. Oh, I thought you were only here for one. No, I'm here for multiple. Yeah, I'll take one of these. Ooh, one of these. Ooh, well, that doesn't look too damn bad back there. Baltimore Ravens might not be too bad of a place to, pick some ripe fruit off the tree. They've been a stable winning organization for a very long time, and Joe Douglas has obvious connections. So Simpson, Morgan Moses, who we'll get to too. I think the Jets are doing a really wonderful job with the offensive line, and do think in theory, not even in theory, you have 4 of your 5 locked in right now. Simpson at left guard, center Joe Tippmann, right guard probably AVT from everything we're hearing right now, and then right tackle Morgan Moses. Jets are in a pretty good spot with only the left tackle to fill, and you have multiple avenues, whether that's aggressive in the draft, whether it's Tyron Smith or what have you. I think either option is viable. I continue to pound the chest and the table for old Tyron from the Dallas Cowboys. But I think this line is in a much better place after that Moses trade.
Well, what do you think about this money, though? Like the newfound money, the pay cuts, where is it going? Are they just sitting on it? Is Joe Douglas's chair uncomfortable and he just needs lumps of money to sit? Or where's it going?
That's a good question. Obviously, there's some money you have to save for, your draft class, and then not rollover money. That's not a good way to put it. Like you have to have emergency break the glass money. Like, in case injury or 2 happens in the summer, you're like, oh boy, we need to go get somebody. You have to have that money, even if you don't plan on ever using it. So there's that money. There's the draft slot money. I believe the extra moolah, and there's going to be some left over, is the wide receiver. I think that's the move for the New York Jets. We did hear today, it was from The Athletic, that the quote-unquote dark horse and the Tyler Boyd sweepstakes, didn't know there was going to be Tyler Boyd sweepstakes, but here we are, the dark horse and the Tyler Boyd sweepstakes. There's the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the conversation. The Kansas City Chiefs apparently are in the conversation. The Jets are the quote-unquote dark horse, according to that Athletic reporter, that the Jets are in on Boyd. I'd love Boyd personally. I don't think that can or should be the only move if they do go in that direction, but he's a guy I like with a high floor. I'd still like another receiver. Maybe there is, to your point, a big splash, whether it's Devontae or whether it's Keenan, although that seems less likely now with the Mike Williams thing and Bosa and Mack restructuring. We're still waiting for moves and news. But who had Morgan Moses on their bingo card? No one. I'll answer that question. So who knows what surprise receiver is going to become available? So I think that's where the money's going. I don't think it's just going to be extra money he sits on and now he's like, well, everything's fixed. Let's go to the draft. I don't think that's going to be the play from JD.
Well, I like Morgan Moses. On my story, those who follow at the James Wudi on IG saw that I said, hey, fun fact, the last time he was a Jet, the Jets offensive line was ranked 11th. That is not a typo. That's not, don't pinch yourself. 11th in the league that year with via PFF. I don't think this is the greatest move ever. I mean, Boy Green, I've been watching. I'm a fan of the channel. This is a fantastic move. Oh my Lord, they just traded for Jesus of Nazareth. Oh my Lord. I mean, I wouldn't say all that. It's a good move. Morgan Moses, He is solid. He's solid. He's dependable. I love Williams' comment here, where now we're talking about Elijah Vera guard, AVG, we got to call him, because I've been calling him Elijah Vera tackle. That looks like that is the case. I would agree with
I would imagine.
Right? Yeah. So now I feel real good about that right side. Right side is pretty much locked down.
Okay, whoa. Let me just get this straight. You're saying the right side's locked down and he's solid, all these things, but then you were like criticizing me for apparently giving too much love to the Morgan Moses move, a guy who's played and started in 14 games at least in 9 straight years, and I only say 14 because this past season was the only time it dipped to 14. Before that, it was at 16. So he had 8 straight years of 16 starts, which means full seasons, because it had been 16 for 6 of those 8 years, and then the 2 years were 17, and he bumped up to 17, and then we had this. So come on, man, give the love where the love.
Move.
You should criticize.
It's a good move.
It's not a good move. It's a great move. They
No.
moved down in the 4th round and gave up a comp 6th-round pick that they lost or they gained from the Mike White thing. That's a great move. They lost nothing. They gave up no asset. They dropped like 30 spots in the 4th round. Yippity doo dah. They still have the higher of the 4th round picks that they didn't even give up to Baltimore. So I just don't get. It's not good. You're using the wrong G word. Great. Come on, Tony the Tiger, do it with me. Great. Not it's good. It's solid. No, it's great.
I mean, maybe if they threw in some Frosted Flakes, it would be great. But it's a solid move for a solid player. Like I said, he's not the absolute best in the league, but he's good. He's better. He's better than average. He's a solid.
Better than average. So another word some people would use when they use that is above average. If he's better than average, he's above average. You want to know what? If my teacher says, "Oh, Paul, that was good," good feels average. Great feels above average. So again, you just got to work on your vernacular.
That's
buddy.
your scale? That good is average? Good.
Yeah.
Average is average.
If someone said, "Hey, Paul, yeah, you did a good job," I'm like, okay. Good is just a word we throw around all the time. Good is mediocre. Good is just average. Good's just fine and dandy. Let me ask you this, Woody, let's get personal. Okay. After you make love to your wife and then she asks you, how was that? You're like, that's pretty good. You know what I mean? Okay. So if you say, well, honey, that was great. She's like, whoa, okay. Go for Woody wife. All right. But if you're like, that was all right. That was good. She's going to be pretty angry. Try that, okay? And try that and then think of me. Not during, after. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
Keep that in
During would be a buzzkill, but we'll have to approach the Webster's Dictionary at some point. I think we both can agree it was a positive. It was a positive move.
Okay, there we go.
Disagree on the degree of positivity. But this left tackle position, believe it or not, I am leaning toward throw the bag at Tyron Smith.
Okay.
And somebody else.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I would do that. And now with the draft, you have that option of, and I can't believe I'm saying this because it used to make my blood boil when people would attach these names to the New York Jets. But Brock Bowers.
Welcome to the dark side. Welcome to the dark side, pal.
Odunze, I mean, because now if that line, right, Tyron Smith, you want some more depth. You do because this line on paper, like if the line stayed healthy these last 2 years, we actually don't know. It could have actually been a very solid line. Like we saw glimpses of that 2 years ago for when they were healthy. I cannot remember the 3 games, but I know one of them was a Dolphins game. That stretch before the Dolphins game and then after was the healthiest, and then AVT dropped in the Broncos game, and it was just downhill from there. But we don't know. So we need depth because if this line, right, we can hype up everyone we want, and then if people go down, we need depth. But assuming this line is pretty much intact, it would be a waste to draft a tackle in the first round. It would be a way. Let me tell you this, Boy Green. Don't they dare waste the second consecutive Aaron Rodgers first round pick on somebody who is not going to be a week 1 key contributor. Don't they dare. If they get Tyron Smith, please, Bowers, Odunze, somebody that will be playing week 1 and getting snaps.
It would be a hard pill to swallow. Again, I use the term arrogant, and I'm going to stand by it. When you pick Will McDonald with the number 15 overall pick last year, that's arrogance. That's arrogance saying, we're good. We don't need someone to start right away. That's what you're saying. It's a luxury pick in a lot of ways. Now, pass rushers are important. I'm not saying they took a punter with the 15th overall pick. I think Will McDonald's going to be really good, and they would need a punter anyway. They got Thomas Morstead. My interview, Boy Green. Anywho, I kid, but no, seriously, check that out. But no, the fact of the matter is that they took a guy that had the fewest snaps played. This is what ended up happening. Will McDonald. He had the fewest snaps played since, wait for it, Vernon Gholston. So you don't want to be in the same sentence as Vernon Golston. And that's what Will McDonald was this past year. So that is an impossible pill to swallow. However, I will take a step back to say that, like, yes, to your point, the 10th overall pick on this team should be starting. But if there was a position where you took it and they competed, an offensive tackle wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because of the Jets' history. That dude is probably getting on the field, and that helps Aaron Rodgers. So, again, I agree with you on the whole. If they figure out Tyron Smith, the Cam Robinson trade, I've seen people float that one out there, whatever. Soft left tackle, I'm all board. You're getting one of the sexy wide receivers. You start doing the math, someone's going to fall. Is that Roma Dunze? Is that Malik Neighbors? Is that Marvin Harrison Jr., surprisingly? Brock Bowers? Whoever. Is it one of those guys? I think that's totally on the table. So that's what I would advocate for, because now we're getting sexy. Let's play around, okay? Tyron Smith, boom, we got him. I'm projecting this, people. Don't clip that. Say, oh, wow, we got him. Look what Boy Green said. No, like, you get him, boom. Tyron Smith, left tackle, John Simpson, left guard, Joe Tippmann, center, AVT, right guard, and then booyah, you got Morgan Moses, right tackle. You sign Tyler Boyd. He's your wide receiver 2 or 3. It's semantics, really, so we don't have to argue about that. And then you draft Roma Dunze. Okay. All of a sudden, now we're cooking, baby. You got Garrett Wilson. You got to know Dunze or Neighbors, whoever your wide receiver choice is. Tyler Boyd, that's a great triplets of receiver. You don't have to rely on Alan Lazard, and hopefully he gives you something, anything when you're rotating. The tight end room, I think, is fine, but to your point, you could add Brock Bowers instead. You can flip them if you want. Dunze for that, because you get a pass catcher. And then Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, this line and everything. I'm like, okay, this team is ready to go win a division. This team's ready to go make a run. I think I want to maximize it, though, because the other thing that scares me, that's option 2 of what you didn't say. Let's say they don't sign Tyron. They go into the draft as is. Throw in some depth pieces. I'm talking about left tackle, gaping hole. And the only thing is they might say, well, maybe T could play left tackle. Like that's what they could convince themselves of in a worst case scenario. That's where I hate it, because, again, I've said this 1,000 times. We'll say this 1,000 more times. There are 2 legitimate left tackles that are not guys you're throwing a dart throw on in round 2, which, by the way, you don't have a round 2 pick anyway. Like at the top of the draft, there are 2 left tackles. It is Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. It is Olu Fashanu out of Penn State. Those are the 2. You sit at 10. Beep, boop, bop. My computer and my brain. Oh, that means 9 players are going to be picked before the Jets pick. The chances are that Joe Alt or Olu Fashanu either one could be one of those 9 picks. Shoot, there could be a scenario where both are taken. Who knows? I don't know. It sure seems like Titans are 100% going a tackle now after the Calvin Ridley deal. So that's 1 offensive tackle at the board. And all you need is one other team to say, let's take an offensive tackle, and it's over. And then the Jets don't have a left tackle. You went into the draft hoping for one, and you don't get one. And then you're like, wow, that's unfortunate. And you can't say that when you're in an all-in season with Aaron Rodgers. So that's the part that scares me. On paper, it makes sense, Woody, to get a young franchise left tackle for the next decade. On paper, sure, I'd prefer that over the old guy. Yeah, but you can't guarantee me that franchise left tackle unless we're giving up significant capital, which is variables and trades. You need the right team to do it and all that chutzpah. So those are the 2 paths for the Jets. Tyron Smith right now, and let's roll BPA, or a player of his, it could be New England guy, Trent Brown. It could be him or one of those other guys. Whoever your left tackle is. I prefer Tyron. But you could sign your person, whoever that is, and then you go BP in the draft. Or if you don't, you just have to go, well, I sure hope one of those guys fall. I don't love that strategy.
It's a terrible strategy, and I hate it. And that's another reason why I can't say that Morgan Moses was like a slam dunk. Like, maybe it's a layup, it's a nice layup. But because let's say they solidified the left tackle instead of the right, then you still have that flexibility, right? There are plenty of right tackle. Like you just said, everything you just said, I feel like you almost just read word for word page 54 of my diary, because that's what I wrote after I seen this trade. Morgan Moses, like if they had secured a left tackle, then you can kind of go in there and, play around, right tackle, because you have Fuaga, you have Latham,
AVT, whatever,
Mims
right.
Had a really good combine. But how it is right now, that's what I'm saying. Get Tyron. Like I feel that's the only thing that is going to help me sleep at night. And if somebody messages me and says Bakhtiari one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. I might have to delete the app. Tyron Smith.
Okay, wait, real quick. So you don't think David Bakhtiari is going to be on this team this season?
They might. I mean, he might, but he better. Like, this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Joe Douglas would be a buffoon. That is a word I do not use too often.
That's a good word. That's good wordplay right there. Yeah.
Well, it's a very accurate word to describe what Joe Douglas would have to be to put Bakhtiari in the starting left tackle role with no sort of backup play, anything. Oh, starting left tackle, Bakhtiari. What?
That would be.
Like,
that would be. Again,
yes.
I reiterate with that. I think he's going to be on the team. So I think a Jet fan should just embrace it. I would be stunned. The only way is if some other team wildly overpaid him. And why would they do that after his injury history? So I think he's going to link up with his boy Rodgers. The only way I'd be cool with David Bakhtiari starting week 1 at left tackle is you bring in David Bakhtiari and you have whoever you're competing with, Trent Brown, Tyron Smith, whatever. And then he's just healthy and he kicks ass and he wins the competition. You're like, whoa, wow. Yeah. And then Joe Douglas pat himself on the back. Hey, I paid 5 cents for that bastard. Nice. All right. And then you look great because, again, when healthy, Bakhtiari's been an all-pro. That's the only scenario that I'm cool with it. There's no way that he signs him and goes, like you're fixing a clubhouse. You're like, hey, that's probably good. Yeah, that should probably hold, Yes, I agree.
That's exactly what happened with Dwayne Brown. Dwayne Brown had surgery. He was not a part of any sort of offseason anything.
Oh, this past offseason you're talking about.
Last offseason, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've already seen them do that. So maybe I have PTSD. I just don't want. I mean, yes, he can be brought in to be that, the depth piece, the place where Carter Warren currently is slotted. That's fine because I already said Carter Warren put that boy 2 injuries away from my offensive line. But the starting left tackle position, it cannot be given to this man, please. So Tyron Smith, I think the pick is a little too low to go in there banking in on all or for Shanu. So I think,
I agree.
Or to even have, the ability to trade up, right? I don't think that's happening. So I feel like I truly believe that's the only option. Tyron Smith, if there's enough money left over, Tyler Boyd would be nice. And then that 10th overall pick, you get a premium. Somebody's going to fall. You just did the math. We're talking about 9 spots, 2 tackles, 4
quarterbacks.
QBs. Yeah, right. The QBs are going. For a fact that either Bowers, Odunze, Neighbors, or if the heavens open up for Marvin Harrison Jr., somebody is falling to 10. Take that person, and you have that line full of. It's a nice blend. Tippmann and AVT or AVG, right? That youth, and even Simpson, right? You guys want to hype up Simpson, pretend like he's Bart, or maybe he Bart, right? And then now you got the youth in the middle, and then the stalwarts, the old dudes on the end. Nice offensive line protecting Aaron, and then now you get a bona fide playmaker under contract for the next 4 years. Can it get better than that, Boy Green?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And by the way, a bunch of other free agent news is coming in. So just to throw you guys a couple of them here that are coming in. Quentin Jefferson, he ends up signing with the Browns, so he's gone. He got injured at the tail end of the year. Again, they replaced him with Javon Kinlaw in the lineup. I'm just trying to catch up on all of them here. Desmond Ridder gets traded to the Cardinals. Rich Cimini says that eliminates Arizona as a landing spot for Zach Wilson. He said that was one of the teams that would have made sense. So we lose a spot there. Zach Wilson apparently just put up his house for sale. So maybe that's a sign that it's about to happen, or like his family is very rich. So he may not just have to stay there anymore. So that, that may not be an indicator that a trade is imminent or anything. And then Mekhi Becton just landed in Cincinnati a couple hours ago for his free agent visit. He would be playing right tackle in that scenario in Cincinnati. So we'll see on that with Mekhi. But trying to catch up on all the news of guys. Jordan Whitehead, obviously, yesterday goes back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there's a couple of moves. Jets are losing, quote unquote, a couple of different guys that they have. So we'll try to keep you guys posted with all that.
Absolutely. Ashton Davis, he's looking to be a starter, I heard. I don't know. Yes. I mean, he's been developing, but I don't know who's been pumping him up like that, to turn down.
Well, the Jets could still be it, though. Right? Because, I saw Ashton. I think Zach Rosenblatt tweeted that out. If I was wrong on the source, excuse me, for the Ashton Davis wants to start thing. But I think it was Zach Rosenblatt. The thing is, when they last year, the Jets had Chuck Clark and Jordan Whitehead, and the Jets, because I was going back to read those articles because I was trying to find Chuck Clark notes when he re-signed, and I read it that the Jets were like, well, our two starters are going to be Chuck Clark and Jordan Whitehead. So that was the plan initially. Clark, of course, gets hurt. That opens the door for Tony Adams and stuff. So if Tony Adams is in the starting lineup and Whitehead was the other guy at safety, and now you remove him in, is Chuck Clark coming off a torn ACL going to be the starter? Maybe. They use 3 safety looks all the time anyway, and he plays all over the place. He's played linebacker, safety, corner, nickel, all these different places. Maybe Ashton, if he wants the quote-unquote most playing time he's going to get, ironically enough, it might be with the Jets anyway because of those 3 safety looks, and he plays that big nickel. So I hope he comes back because I still want to do that interview that I was going to do with him earlier this offseason. And plus, I mean, I love Ashton, man. So I hope he comes back. The safety market looks super depressed right now, or maybe they go for your Cam Curl that you gave a couple weeks ago because the safety market's been super slow. It still looks like there's one more safety getting added to this team for sure.
Yeah, we will keep our eyes peeled. I definitely, I would prefer it to be Ashton. But yeah, Cam Curl, we'll see what happens there. I know a couple people were saying Poyer, who just went from another AFC East team, but not this AFC East team.
Went to Miami. Yeah.
So, we'll deal with that twice a year when it comes. But I am probably the only person who is worried about the edge right now. I know.
Oh yeah, we need another edge rusher. That's a good call out. We do need one more.
Definitely. Well, when I say it, everyone keeps shoving McDonald in my face, and like it's not hate. It's just you want the proven. We let double-digit sacks out the door. Literally, just took a train to Philly. That's not an easy feat, right? That's not something the Jets have seen in years.
Right.
I think it's time to bring someone in. They do a rotation anyway. So
I was just about to say that point right there. That like you need more anyway. Even if you believe or don't believe in Will McDonald, that's your own prerogative. Feel free to do what you want. The Jets, Roberts out at the end of the season, called him this superstar in the waiting, basically. So they obviously believe he's going to be the second coming of the Messiah. Apparently, as much as I do with Morgan Moses, parting the Red Sea. But no, I think a pass rusher is coming in no matter what because of the rotation. So sure, let's assume Will McDonald takes some of Bryce's stuff, but Carl Lawson is gone. Like there's a lot of dudes that are gone that all of a sudden spots open up. So they need another guy no matter what you think about Will McDonald. If you think he's phenomenal, if you think he's a superstar, you still need another guy. So we'll see where they sniff. Like I said, I mentioned Chase Young earlier this week. Maybe it's someone not as big of a name. I don't know who it ends up being, but those are the waters. Those are the waters to check because another guy's 100% coming. We'll see in what wave that ends up coming here in free agency. I
got one last question for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it looked like DJ Reed was talking about chess, not checkers. We've seen some tweets. I think Jermaine Johnson was also a part of it. These defensive players that had me thinking like, oh, we about to hear about Clowney. We about to hear about somebody on the defensive side. Maybe were they talking about the CJ restructure? I don't know if that's
weird. Yeah.
That
was an extent. I would say I know you're saying restructure. It is a restructure, but an extension, right? So he's not only here for this year. Now he's going to be here for the following year too. So maybe a guy getting paid, which he gets paid a little bit. It's technically a pay cut, but it's been structured very well in the media as like, hey, look at this guy, look at this money. But it is a pay cut that is sort of happening here. But anywho, yeah. I don't feel like that would be it though. The way they were talking felt like an addition. Yeah. So. I don't know. I don't know who that's going to be, though.
Find out. Let's just find out then.
Okay. TBD.
All right. Well, Boy Green, you already know it's always a good time when you and I get together to talk about these boys, to try to define the word good. What does it mean? I don't know. We still got to figure it out. We'll be talking to Webster and find out the definition of these words. And, you gotta check us out next week while we continue to break down the action or question the inaction of the New York Jets.
Perhaps there's over 750 people in here live right now, and there's been nearly 1,000 the entire time for the show on Twitter, YouTube, and also on Instagram. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure no matter where you're watching. So like right now, let me get an update. We've got 800 people watching on my Twitter account right now. So make sure you guys hit that follow button. And on YouTube, we got another 50 to 100, it looks like. So make sure you guys like the video. That's a free way to contribute. Also hit subscribe. And to the 800 people on Twitter, the X Machine, make sure you guys follow as well. And then shout out to all the people on Instagram. I love that. Yeah, wow. We're getting a lot of Instagram love too. So shout out to those bastards as well.
Well, until next time.
Peace out, everybody.